Imagine this. A quiet evening, the sun slipping behind the rooftops, long shadows stretching across a sleepy street. And then, like a whisper of another era, the Citroën DS Pallas glides into view. Not arrives, not pulls up, glides. Because that's what this machine has always done best. Even the 1990 model, long after the world thought it had moved on from this kind of charm, still floats forward with the same effortless grace that once made people stop mid-sentence just to stare. You don't drive a DS Pallas, you accompany it, like an old friend with whom you've shared a lifetime of memories. And for men who've lived enough years to appreciate the difference between noise and nuance, this car carries a kind of quiet wisdom. It doesn't shout, it doesn't boast, it simply exists, comfortably, confidently, like a gentleman who knows exactly who he is. The first thing you notice is the shape. There's nothing else like it on the road. Even now, decades after its prime, the DS still looks like it belongs in the future rather than the past. Aerodynamic curves that seem hand-drawn by a sculptor rather than stamped by a machine. That long, sweeping roofline, the delicate nose, the almost spaceship-like rear, all of it working together in a way that no modern car dares attempt. Modern machines are sharp, aggressive, trying too hard to look alive. The DS Pallas, it breathes. It moves like silk in a gentle breeze. Then there's the suspension. The legendary hydro-pneumatics. If you've ever felt it, you never forget it. It's like the car isn't rolling on the road, but hovering just above it. Bumps dissolve, imperfections disappear. It's the kind of ride that makes younger men laugh the first time they experience it, because they've never known anything softer, smoother, more dignified. It was a marvel in its day, and truthfully, nothing has ever quite matched it since. You glide through town, and suddenly every journey feels slower, calmer, more meaningful. The DS doesn't hurry. It invites the world to slow down and meet it at its pace. When you open the door, you're welcomed by that unmistakable interior. Citron brown leathers, soft carpets, chrome accents that gleam without screaming for attention. Everything is placed with purpose. Not a single switch feels cheap or rushed. The French built it the way a tailor makes a bespoke suit, with thought, patience, and a touch of rebellion. There's a smell, too, a mixture of old leather, warm plastic, and time itself. Anyone who has lived long enough knows that scent. It's memory made tangible. And when you sit in the Pallas, you sit differently. Taller, straighter, more aware. The steering wheel, single-spoked, elegant, almost artistic, reminds you that this car was designed when people still believed in experimenting, when engineers and dreamers worked side by side, when a car could be practical and poetic at the same time. Turn the key and the engine doesn't roar. It clears its throat politely. A subtle hum, a confident purr, like an old singer warming up before hitting the perfect note. The sound is warm, familiar, not the metallic bark of modern engines or the sterile silence of electrics. It feels alive, mechanical in the most charming way. You feel a pulse, a heartbeat, nothing robotic about it. Out on the road, the DS Pallas becomes a companion with personality. It has its quirks, its moods, its little rituals. Press the brakes and that hydraulic system responds like something sentient, quick, firm, yet impossibly smooth. Steer into a curve and the body leans not in protest, but in dance, flowing like a well-aged wine being poured into a glass. It's graceful, unhurried, confident. Other drivers turn their heads. Some smile, some nod, some stare as if they've seen a ghost from the golden days. The DS has that power. Not flashy, not loud, just unmistakable. a reminder of a time when craftsmanship mattered, when design had soul, when driving was an experience rather than an obligation. Old men, your audience, understand something that younger generations often miss: the value of things built to last, not just physically, but emotionally. A modern car might impress with speed, buttons, and blinking screens, but the DS21 Pallas impresses with stories. It carries history under its paint, personality in its suspension, and charm in every unusual detail. It's a car that sparks conversations, a car that makes you smile even before you start it, a car that reminds you of when things were simpler, or perhaps when you were younger. And you don't have to pretend with it. There's no need to act cool or tough. The DS Pallas doesn't demand anything from you. It accepts you as you are, wrinkles and all, with the quiet respect of an old friend who knows your whole story and still chooses to ride with you. When you drive it, you feel ageless, not young, not old, just you. Imagine pulling up to a cafe or an old neighborhood street. The DS settles gently as the suspension lowers itself like a bow. People look, not because you're trying to show off, but because the car carries an aura, a presence. It's like watching a legendary actor walk into a room. No need for introductions, no need for applause. The respect is automatic. Even the imperfections of an older DS21 Pallas have their charm. A slightly sticky door latch, a gentle hiss from the hydraulics, a quirk in the dashboard lighting. These aren't faults, they're signs of character. Signs that this machine has lived a life. Signs that it's more than metal and rubber. It's an artifact of passion, engineering, and imagination. And there's something comforting about that. Something real. Something timeless. For men who've lived long enough to know that life isn't perfect, that the rough edges are what make the story worth telling, the DS21 Pallas becomes more than transportation. It becomes a reminder that beauty isn't about being new, style isn't about following trends, and elegance isn't about shouting louder than everyone else. It's about presence, confidence, grace. Even in 1990, when this particular model was produced long after the original DS era, it still carried that spirit. It still maintained